Let's go straight across to our guests who are joining us on this special edition of Brass Tacks. Shehzad is national spokesperson of the BJP. He's joining us here in the studios. M Kumaramangalam is spokesperson of the Congress Party. Rashid Kidwai, senior journalist who's been covering the Congress for a number of years now. And Shekhar Iyer, also senior journalist, joining us. Mohan, let me start with you first. What is the idea behind Mr. Gandhi going on these very angry rants, if I may, on the OBC question? The reporter that he took off against in Amethi also happened to be an OBC. What is Mr. Gandhi trying to get at? Because this idea of OBC politics, caste census, etc. was a tried and failed idea as recently as the December elections in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh. So why is he trying to once again beat a drum which is hollow?
Laka, why do you say it failed? I mean, I guess the first place where the OBC idea came about or actually caught the people's imagination was the Mandal movement. And there isn't one failed election or two failed elections in the north. But by the way, state elections, electorate makes choices based on a variety of factors. That wasn't the central message anyway of those elections. Why would you say it failed? Secondly, if you go back to what Mr. Gandhi is saying, and I take offense to the term you used, which is ranting, he's trying to make a larger point wherein the disempowered, the backward classes in our society do not have their rightful share of the wealth in our society, of the importance of society. So to compare and contrast that, he's using symbols like Bollywood actors who Mr. Modi loves taking selfies with and hanging out with. You'll see Mr. Gandhi more taking selfies with or hanging out with auto drivers or mechanics. That contrast is visible for all to see. And he's making a larger point here, which is that backward classes are not getting their rightful share of this country's wealth or power. And what we're doing is we're not paying attention to those issues and we're just focusing on infotainment, if you will, or newstainment, if you will.
Well, once again, Mohan, look, at least on this show, I try to not do newstainment as you
I didn't say it was your show, Zaka.
Fair enough. I'm ignoring that. I'm asking you a very serious question. The reason I say it failed is because caste census was the singular point that Mr. Gandhi harped on during the winter elections in Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh. I can play out umpteen number of his campaign speeches. It didn't work. The BJP beat the Congress fair and square in all three North Indian heartland states. Number one. No, that's not my question. Give me 30 seconds. I'm getting to a question. And the question is very simple. If Mr. Gandhi is playing quote-unquote identity politics, and you're right, I mean, there isn't adequate representation of OBCs or backward castes in mainstream India. Forget about, our politics, but, media, whatever, scientific community, businesses, that may be a valid point. But how will it cut eyes with voters when Mr. Gandhi, who is not an OBC, is pitted against Mr. Modi, who is arguably the biggest OBC mascot in this country right now? How is this going to work?
You think Mr. Modi being an OBC is all that matters? I mean, I think, I don't know how that even makes sense, because if one person who's an OBC is a prime minister, and I would just say, okay, how about the other number of OBCs who are secretaries, who are in power in executive positions? These are the questions we should be asking. One OBC becoming prime minister does not solve the problem. And Mr. Gandhi, whether he's OBC or not OBC, has absolutely no bearing on what he should talk about. I mean, this is like saying that Mahatma Gandhi back in the day could not fight for the cause of Dalits because he wasn't a Dalit himself. That's exactly the wrong kind of thinking in India. I think there needs to be an awakening on this issue. And what Mr. Gandhi is doing, the most powerful voice in the opposition, is lending his voice to this issue.
Okay,
which is why
Shehzad, to answer the point that M Kumaramangalam is making, that one Modi as an OBC does not necessarily make the BJP an OBC party.
I heard Mohan very patiently, so I hope he will not interrupt, and just give me 35 seconds to address this, then I'll make my other points. By the way, because he spoke about Mandal and caste census, till 1931 we used to have caste census. Nehru ji stopped caste census and is on record to say that this is going to divide the country. Mandal report came 1980 and 1984. Rajiv ji and Indira ji opposed it, did not allow it to be implemented. In fact, when VP Singh government backed by BJP was implementing this, Rajiv Gandhi got up in Parliament September 1990 and said that we oppose this, and their slogan at that time was na jaat par na paat par muhar lagegi haath par. It is not just question of Prime Minister being Modi being a OBC. In fact, 27% of our ministers are OBC, 40% of our MLCs are OBC, 85 MPs. That means more than entire MP of Congress Congress are OBCs of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and this is why we walk the talk. We are not taking selfies with poor people. We have come from poor background. Therefore, we don't need to have poverty as a state of mind and start taking selfies with mechanics or with plumbers, because we live that life. Vishwakarma Yojana to making constitutional status for OBC's commission. All of this has been done by us, which they have not done. But I have 3 or 4 pointed questions to ask. One, sir, why didn't you award Bharat Ratna to Karpuri Thakur when you had 10 years in UPA 2004 to 14? No answer. 2, are you acknowledging that at that time Ram Manohar Lohia and others who used to say that Mandal is the way, and Indira ji used to oppose it? Indira ji was wrong, Nehru ji was wrong, Rajiv ji was wrong. 2, 3, Sitaram Kesi, one OBC president you had. What you did to him is best known to me. I am also a congressman at one point of time. I know how his dhoti and kurta were torn apart. 4, please tell me, Mr. Mohan, today when you talk about all of this caste angle, when you had opportunity, they won Telangana, they make who Chief Minister? Revanth Reddy, who says OBC DNA, Kurmi DNA is less than Telangana DNA, and we get a chance. We made Mohan Yadav the Chief Minister in Madhya Pradesh, and today therefore I ask Mr. Mohan that please tell me that Secretaries Government of India, today the people who are empaneled as secretaries come from the 1991-92 batch. The OBC reservation only started in 94-95. This means you yourself are responsible for not having this done earlier. Had you done it earlier, today we would have a maximum number of secretaries from the OBC community. It is not because of your government's failure. And today tell us whether Nehru and Indira and Rajiv ji were wrong. And finally, on the larger point, on this, you have abused OBC Samaj and you got convicted by a court of law. And the statement made to the journalist that tumhara Malik kaun hai, and that journalist whose name incidentally is Yadav got beaten up by the Congress goons. This is not the first time. You remember an NDTV journalist asked Rahul Gandhi a question. He said, your Malik has changed. This shows intolerance. Emergency DNA is a part of their upbringing, and therefore this is intolerance towards questions.
To Shehzad, and then I'll go to Rashid Kidwai and Shikhar Iyer after that. Yeah.
Which questions do you want me to respond to?
No, he's asked you 3-4 questions.
Just respond to all his questions in one. Yeah, there are 3 or 4 questions there. I'll respond to all of it in one. That whether Mr. Rajiv Gandhi had opposed it or not, whether Srimati Indira Gandhi had opposed it at the time or not, the question is, in today's time, what is the BJP's position on it? When we are saying we did a socioeconomic caste survey, then we demitted government, they came into government, they didn't even do a survey, they didn't do a caste census, forget everything else. And when we're saying that now we will do it, or why don't you do it, what is stopping them? We're saying now, right? Let's not go back 40 years or 50 years. We want to know why you won't do it now. If we say that OBCs are not getting their rightful share, sure, Shehzad, I agree with you. Maybe we should have done it way back then. But today we're saying we're going to do it. Why won't you come on board and say you would do it now?
Okay, 10 seconds. I need to go to the other 2 guests.
Zaka, please ask
why aren't you doing a caste census?
Zaka, please ask your research team to do simultaneous research. Amit Shah has been asked this question and he said on record, we are not opposed to caste census, but caste survey was opposed by DK Shiv Kumar. Caste survey was opposed by the Chhattisgarh CM who was there, Bhupesh Baghel. He did not release the figures. Even in Karnataka, they have not released the figures. And by the way, TMC is on record to say we are against caste census. Okay. And TMC is part of India Alliance.
So let me ask Rashid.
Let them all oppose it. You are in power.
Okay, one second. Let me go to Rashid.
In Karnataka, you are in power.
Please.
Karnataka, you are in power.
Let me ask the journalist to please come in.